The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, well, good evening, folks. Welcome to, this is Kevin. Welcome to the webinar. Just to make sure you're in the right place, this webinar is about you, Google, and SEO in dentistry. With me is Andy.
Good evening.
Andy is our, how can I describe Andy? In-house creative technical geek, if that's not...
Well, that's fine.
Is that a compliment, Andy?
I've been called worse.
We're going to make a generalization here that most of you listening in will know something about Google, about SEO, but just for clarity, just to kick things off before we get into the real detail, Andy, an overview, what is search engine optimization?
Right, search engine optimization is search engine marketing, as we call it, SEM, and it's about getting your site found on search engines in an organic, non-paid way. Instead of having to use the likes of Google AdWords for paid placement, it's about making your website work for you in an organic way, in a natural way on search engines, or as natural as it can be with a search engine.
This is people finding you on Google or other search engines without clicking on the little yellow bit that says ad next to it.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Good. So, do you need to do anything? I mean, what happens if you just put your website live and sit there and wait?
You'll sit there and wait for quite a while. It could take 6 weeks, it could take 6 months, it could take 6 years for Google to index your site. And whether or not you get any meaningful results from it depends on the way the site is built and the content of the site.
Right.
So it's something that takes time.
Okay, so we're gonna dive in and to introduce the listeners to what I think are some fundamental changes in what we know both publicly online and also behind the scenes. But if anyone's got any questions, by the way, you can either send a question via the GoToMeeting control panel, which should be on your computer screen, or you can tweet us, and the hashtag and tweet link thing are on the screen in front of us. So we've been meeting with our clients over the past month, talking about websites and talking about SEO at our Club Connect workshops. And one of the things that I've picked up on is that it's a moving feast. This is not an exact science. The rules and the algorithms and the dance with Google is changing all the time. But what I am clear on is that there have been two fundamental changes, which we're going to go into in more detail. But just to give you an idea, you may have noticed if you do a Google search at the moment, where there used to be on the right-hand page lots of space for advertised listings, as Andy's showing you on the screen now, it's now a big blank space. So fundamentally, Google have reduced the size of the shop window. If you reduce supply, then the price effectively goes up. And you can see on this page there are less adverts than you might have expected only a couple of weeks ago. The other thing that's happened is that this sounds like the plot to a James Bond thriller, but there's an organization called Schema, which we're going to come on to, but that seems to be about all the search engine companies have got together and they're looking at ways of making what they do more efficient.
Yep, that's correct.
I'm taking it from that they're doing it more for their benefit than ours, because you can either now pay Google to go up the rankings, or you do their work for them, which saves them money effectively.
Yeah, that's right. What's happening with Google AdWords, obviously good revenue for Google with that. When you do some certain search terms, can have up to $400 costs against any clicks on an ad, especially in the law and accident side of things. So there's a lot of revenue to be had there in AdWords. That's why Google have reduced the revenue. The real estate on their search engine page. So you just get AdWords at the top and at the bottom now, and that's that.
And I guess running a search engine costs money, and if you're into making driverless cars, that needs money. And effectively what's happening is that they are basically saying, package up the data and bring it to us rather than us coming to find it. That saves them money, saves them computing power and all the rest of it. So
correct.
That's a bit of a game changer.
That's where structured data basically gives Google the data they require. Look at Google in the way of being a child. and you spoon feed it the information it requires.
Got it. Right. Okay. So we're going to go into that, but just to sort of set the scene in the background, what's happening? Is Google still number one, Andy? I mean, I know the answer is yes, but how do we know that?
Yes, Google is number one in the world. As you can see, they've got 88% of the search market as of January 2016. It's quite a lot, as you can see, compared to Bing, a close second at 4.8%, and Yahoo at 3.3%, languishing at the bottom.
And then one in China we've never heard of.
One in China that nobody's ever heard of unless you're in China, but that's another story.
So for all intents tonight, we're talking about Google because it dominates massively. Yeah. But there's been a few changes recently in the UK, which we're illustrating here.
Right. In the UK, you can see that it looks rather a dramatic graph. It's not. It's just the way that the stats have been put forward. But Google have a search. Their market dominance is 85% in the UK, compared to the likes of Bing, which is 9% in the UK. As you can see, when you swap between the two, Google have gone down a couple of points and Bing have gone up. This is down to the rollout of Windows 10 and the packaging of Bing as a search engine in the operating system itself on their browsers, which they were a while ago they were told not to do this, not to package search engines into their operating system.
But they've done it anyway.
They've gone and snuck it in again, the back door.
Okay, so that's why we're going to talk about Google mainly, because it's still the dominant operator, and it's probably going to take a fairly seismic shift to change that. But what I've established about SEO is it's a moving feast. It's changing all the time.
That's right. I mean, what we can see here on this slide is basically the dominance of Windows within the marketplace. However, Google still have a dominance as a search provider, even though Windows takes over the majority of the the operating systems around the world. So really, there will be some fall off with Google and a little bit up, but they're still going to be dominant in years to come.
So let's move on then. I mean, and we're going to cover some basics here, and forgive us if this is stuff that's familiar to you, but we've got all sorts of people listening in, so we're going to cover some basics. But fundamentally then, Andy, in your experience, what do, I'm going to say search engines and use the term Google intermittently, but what do Google and the search engine companies, what do they actually want from us, or from you as a professional, or from their clients online with dental practices?
Well, if we take Google as the main protagonist here, it's down to content. They're looking for sites that are human friendly, that read nicely, that the titles on the page are relevant, the descriptions are nice, and there's not too much technical stuff going on there as far as keywords, etc. A good balance of words. They're looking for good performance of a website so that it loads quickly. It doesn't take too long, so that there's issues with buffering going on. They're also looking for authority. Now, authority is a strange thing to describe, because they're looking for a little bit of credibility from you. So with links from other websites, for example, but they have to be good quality websites that you're linking from. The likes of Facebook, the likes of YouTube, the likes of Google+, the likes of Twitter, that have got a good track record, and they can cross-reference you between them, that you've got activity going on all these other channels. And, for example, authority comes from, in the dental market, for example, say you're a 6-month smiles provider, that you've got a listing on the 6monthsmiles.com website, for example.
So it comes back as opposed to just a link.
That's right.
Two-way thing.
It's a two-way thing, yeah. Also, user experience. Is it a good-looking site? And believe it or not, Google's algorithm does take that into account. Is it a modern-looking site? Does it have the right sort of aesthetic? Is it easy to get around with easy-to-navigate menus? Or the other thing that they look at is, does it have a high bounce rate? If it's got a high bounce rate, they're seeing people aren't getting a good user experience from it, and people are clicking on a site, they're coming off it straight away because they can't get around it, or it's not what they were looking for. Okay. The part about, does it look safe? Has it got credibility? That's what they're looking for there as well.
So that's what they want.
Yeah.
The next question logically is, well, what do we need to avoid? This looks a bit like the website of the past and SEO of the past.
Yeah, definitely.
Where you just found lots of keywords crammed together. If you were trying to promote teeth whitening, you'd stick it in the first line, the second line, the third line, and somewhere at the bottom. Now you're being penalised for that.
That's right. SEO 1.0, as it was called, was basically down to keywords, and more keywords, lots of low quality links, and basically a poor user experience. Now, when we say keyword stuffing, it's the overuse of keywords. So every line would have a reference to, for example, tooth whitening. Every sentence would mention tooth whitening in a certain place, or tooth whitening, or wherever. And it would really not read well for humans. I think what Google are trying to do, they're trying to make the internet search results that they serve very good quality, so that they're seen as being a very high quality source of information for people, that people want to come back to with credibility, obviously.
So they're trying to control it. And I think you said to me the other week that they've actually publicly said they almost want to do away with people doing SEO in inverted commas.
That's correct. It's quite widely. It is now in the SEO industry. It's quite widely known that Google don't want people paying for SEO. They want people to pay them for AdWords.
Right.
And they've just upped the game with the AdWords by getting rid of the right column adverts, so that the real estate is now scarce, and hence they can charge more for it.
Right. So, I don't know. Is it a conspiracy theory? I don't know. But okay. Well, let's see what we can do about it then, Andy. So I know you're what I'm taking away from the conversation we've had about this multi-channel approach, as you talk about, is that from a layman that knows or knew a little bit about SEO, it was all about a few words and making them, key on the web page. I think what you're saying here is that, but it's also all of these other channels as well.
Oh, that's correct. Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, all the other social networks that have a little bit of authority. As we know, the likes of YouTube gives great authority because it's owned by Google, and they verify you to be a part of that. Likewise, Google+. And consequently, Google+, they were told to take their search results last year out of the frame. So anything leading from Google to Google Plus got demoted. Now it's snuck back in again after the latest algorithm update in February. So we're now seeing search results from Google Plus coming back in. The good thing about this is that you have to have a consistent approach. So on your website, you've got a certain writing style for your copy, you've got a certain layout, etc., and certain titles. What we're looking for, or what Google is looking for, is the same on Facebook. They're looking for good quality content on Facebook to cross-reference against your site.
So you're talking about the branding, the appearance, the words, the phrases, to be some consistency.
Yeah, the wording and the links back to your site, because obviously social media is about driving traffic to your website as well, albeit in a pre-engaged way. People are engaged when they go on social media, and they can then pick up on the vibe that you've got as a business.
So, but that's good practice for marketing anyway, isn't it? Just
yes.
Generally with your offline, with your print and all the rest of it, there is for the messages to be consistent.
That's right. I mean, if you put an ad out, say a leaflet out, and just for example, let's say it looks black, and then people go to your website and your website looks white, then they're most likely just going to bounce straight off it because it's not got a consistent message. They won't recognize it as such. Okay. So what I'm getting from this then is that before we move into the sort of overall marketing strategy, SEO isn't just one single thing. Maybe it never was. Perhaps I always thought it was just about keywords. It's actually about all these other things going on. And now, of course, we've got all these other channels. And then in turn, SEO is part of your overall marketing strategy. And it has to be paid attention to in equal share as all the other things, which were just highlighted here. So that's correct. I mean, obviously, you've got your website copy. You've got social media that involves copy and stories and link backs to your website. You've got your blog, which allows fresh content. These are all taken into consideration by the search engines. Your newsletter, which now can be delivered digitally and downloaded off the website as well, that's taken into account. Offline advertising, it's all about having, if you're going to put a website address on your offline advertising, then where people land on, they're looking at that as well. So they're looking for consistency. Same with direct mail, same with events, anywhere where you're publicizing your website.
And it's a bit of a Rose and Co catchphrase. I don't know where we got it from, but marketing is everything that you do, and it's all those activities. But equally, of course, you could do all that. But if first impressions when you walk through the door are poor, then why did you bother? I guess.
Precisely.
Okay.
Same on a search engine. First impressions count on there as well.
Okay. Good. So let's get into some quick reminder of the hashtag. I think it's probably easier to type than it is to say, Roseco SEO. Let's get into some practical stuff then, because I guess people are listening in wanting some takeaways, things that they can do, and we've got some things for you. Practically then, let's just look at some of the basics. Keyword research. This is you finding out what people are looking for in your area in dental related things. Can you just give us, we're going to look at that in a second, aren't we?
Yeah, we'll go to some practical examples of what you can do and tools you can use. But keyword research, there's no point starting down the route of SEO unless you've researched what you are aiming for, what keywords you're going to be using on your website, on Facebook, in any online presence whatsoever. If you've got a profile somewhere, let's make sure it's consistent with good quality keywords.
And you're going to highlight that anybody can do that. There's publicly available tools within Google where you can find out what those keywords and phrases are.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that.
The importance of website copy, great content. I think we've mentioned that, and I think we've got an example of a website that, as far as we know, no, in inverted commas, formal SEO has happened. However, it's got great copy, and it pretty much owns the first half of page one of Google in its area.
Yep.
Links you've touched on. Again, in the old days, you could almost buy in links from different things, and it was all a bit.
That's right. You could buy en masse links that were low quality from various listing sites that had no relevance to dentistry, for example, and it just would not work.
And then analytics is, again, a tool that anybody can do. In theory, you can look at your website and find how people are landing there, how they found you, what the bounce rate is, and what pages they're looking at and how long they're spending and all that sort of stuff.
That gives you an idea of how effective your marketing, your online search engine marketing is performing.
But I think you just wanted to make the point that this is not just a one-off fix. This is it is a problem child, if you like. It's something you've got to pay attention to at the right times.
Yeah, be aware. You've got to be constantly looking at this. It's not. You've got to be monitoring what's happening. There are tools out there that you can use to actually monitor your page rank, etc. But the best way of doing it is actually try and get in the head of your clients, your patients who are searching for you, and try and find out and look at where your website's coming and get a good feel for what it's all about.
So let's kind of take the lid off some of the mystery around this then, and let's get into some of these practical things we can do. Keywords, I know you're going to bring up some of the screens now so we can look at this. So how do we do that? But I almost forgot. The most important thing is the James Bond almost villain schema.org, which we're going to come on to. Should we just leave that one for now?
We'll leave that for now. We'll go into that because that's very interesting in the development of the internet. It's about 18 months old now, but we'll go into all that. First of all, right, we'll start having a look at search engines themselves. Obviously, Google, we've all seen this before. I'll just put a pointer up. So we've got ads here, and we can see they say ad next to them, simple as that. As you can see down this side here, there used to be a shed load of ads. They're no longer there anymore. Google have decided to get rid. So this basically puts the price of these up, as there are less ads on page. So let's just have a look. Get rid of that so we can scroll down, and you can see they've also put ads at the bottom now, and in fact the ads now go onto page 2 and page 3, depending on what the competition is. So
depending on how much you pay,
yeah,
I guess.
that's right, yeah. And how much you pay to get on the top of page 1. So anyway, first of all, keyword planning. That's basically where you start. You look at your area and you decide, what keywords am I going to try and target? Now, I've gone into my AdWords account here. Now, this AdWords account, it's free for you to get an AdWords account. Yes, you will have to put your credit card details in, but you will not get billed for anything. It allows you to then plan which keywords are effective. Now, there's a little bit of, you've got to make a judgment on this. We can see here, we've put in a search term, keyword teeth whitening. Now, in the UK alone, if I bring the graph up, it has 74,000 searches on average per month. As you see, there's a little bit of a drop on the run up to Christmas for some reason. Not too sure why that is. Also, you can see there is a price attached to it. Likewise, dental insurance, which we're looking at something, we're going to look at that in a little while as well. Cosmetic dentist and private dentist, you can sort of get a good idea in the UK what people are searching for. Now, what we can do with this, we can drill this down to a location. I'll just do this live. Say Manchester, for example. Well, I'll put the right one in.
Have another go. Let's get Manchester, England as well. Yeah. Excellent.
And we can see it will give you detailed data as to the average monthly searches that you're getting. So we're looking at 1,000 searches in Manchester per month on average, as you can see. And there's a value attached to that for AdWords, which we're not looking at the AdWords value at the moment. But
you've got a choice. If you're a dentist in Manchester, you want to promote teeth whitening, you do the research on that using this tool, and you can see it's a relatively high search term.
Yep.
And you can then basically, as people probably know, you can then put in a suggested bid and try and then too much control over it. Try and control it. That's what Google kind of want you to do, because they make money out of it.
That's right. What we can do, we can use that keyword and we can embed that into the site, and then hopefully that will get picked up organically.
Okay, so we mentioned website copy as well. So we've got these key terms and phrases.
Yep.
How important is getting the right copy then? You mentioned about it being not too technical, not too jargony, not too rammed with keywords. Yep. It sounds like a bit of a dance to me. You've got to get the balance right.
Yep, it is. We mentioned earlier about a website that was managing to get really good ranking in its local area in Surrey. Now, this is the one down here. I'll see if you can see that. This Egham Dental Care, sorry, no, I'm on the wrong one, sorry.
Crown House.
It's Crown House down here, Crown House Dental Practice. We know that they're not undertaking any SEO activities whatsoever. They are, however, doing really good social media posts on Facebook, Twitter, etc. And they've got really good copy on their website. And this has just happened over the past few months. They've managed to get up because of that quality of
So this is another option. This is not paying for AdWords. This is not paying some SEO technical geek like you to do anything. This is basically just putting good copy on the website and linking into social media and Facebook and Twitter, and I don't know if YouTube's included in this, but and that stuff anybody can do.
That's right. It takes time, and it's all about testing. You've got to try tactics out with your copy. You've just got to have a plan in your head. Look, I'm going to make sure that I rank in this particular area for these keywords, and that's where the keyword testing tool. No doubt there has been some testing of keywords, what will work in the area when the copy was written, but there's no active SEO going on that. What the site will have to do, though, they have to keep content fresh. So they will be adding blogs, etc., to make sure that this keeps fresh.
And that's what Google wants. It wants fresh content.
They want fresh content that's informative, that's human, that people can understand.
And going back to the bounce rate, one of the things that we've found is that if people have engaged via social media first, then they go to your website because they're already kind of engaged and interested.
Yeah.
The bounce rate's lower.
Yeah.
And in turn, of course, it's a double-edged sword because there's an incoming link and they're hanging around longer.
Yep.
Google likes it.
Yep.
And this is all free. You don't have to do anything.
That's right.
So, wow. Okay. So how do we ramp it up even further then? What's our other options?
Right. Obviously, we're doing some keyword planning. Okay. So once we've planned that and we've written our copy, we've got our website live, we need to tell Google what's going on. The way we do that is by telling Google that we are there, and we use what's called a sitemap. This is the Google Webmaster Tools site, and we've uploaded a sitemap to them. There are a couple of warnings on there. I know what they are. It's just because there were pages that have been taken off. As you see, we have submitted and indexed pages here. 104 pages indexed out of 217 submitted. Now that includes images as well, and it's blog posts, etc., etc. But what we're looking for is a good number to be in the Google index, and this is specifically for Google. Bing have their own Webmaster Tool search console as well. Does exactly the same thing, just slightly different style. Okay. So once you've submitted your sitemap, oh, by the way, you can build a sitemap online by searching Google, ironically, for free XML sitemap. And some tools will pop up, plug in your URL, it will crawl through your site, pull up every URL and make in an XML format. You then upload that to the root of your website without getting too technically geeky here. And then you can point this tool to the sitemap. I'll make sure that all these links are put in the follow-up emails after this webinar anyway, so you can all try this yourself as well.
But again, all this stuff is stuff that people can do themselves on their own website.
Yeah,
it's all publicly available.
This is all free. This is, we don't pay for these tools, but they're required in order to get yourself listed faster than just letting luck take.
So this kind of debunks the idea that there are different levels of SEO to me, because you're either, I'm conscious we're talking to dentists, it would be a bit like half an anaesthetic. You're either anaesthetized, I can't even say it, we're either anaesthetized or you're not. You're either optimized for the search engines or you're not. And it's not as mysterious as I thought it was a month ago. And a lot of this stuff you can do yourself. There's publicly available resources. And yes, it's a bit geeky, it's a bit technical, but you can do this stuff.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, it's just time, and you've got to be aware of what you're doing and make sure that you give it time and to work. Google reindex once a week. Usually, I go and check every Monday morning, and usually by lunchtime, there's been some changes. I can see whether things have gone up or down. So, it does take time, and I know some people don't have the time to do that. That's why they outsource. But yes, your site is either optimized or it isn't. I'm skeptical of levels of SEO, personally, especially with what we're going to show you in a little while as well.
Should we move on to that next?
Yeah, well, we'll just have a quick look at the way that Google acquires or people find you on search, etc. In Google Analytics, now you might not have direct access to this, but your website designer or search engine optimization provider will or should be able to give you access to this. You can see here on this particular site that we're using as an example, Precision in Rotherham, have organic search within the time frame. It's a 30. I think this is for February. 359 unique sessions. They've had, that's people actually searching for the page. Bounce rate about 35%, which nowadays is about average. That's just about right. Direct 71 people plugging in the URL into their browser. Paid search, not much. They're not doing any AdWords at the moment, and as you can see, any AdWords that they have done at the beginning of the month had a high bounce rate anyway.
So you could have paid your £3 or £4 for that,
yeah,
and then 75% of them don't stick around.
Yes,
£3 or £4 per search, basically.
Yeah. Whereas organic search, you're getting a lesser bounce rate, which says that people are staying on the site. Okay, you can drill down the data further. We're not going to go all the way down there.
There's clearly a lot of other stuff here in terms of this Google Analytics page, but that's probably the most useful bit.
Yeah,
that's the bit I look at on
that's
my website.
The bit down the side here, under acquisition, overview, just click on that, and then you can go into more detail if you require.
Okay. So the big thing, schema, scared the life out of me when you first mentioned this. It looks like, and it's just on your screens now, the most anonymous. I'm glad we didn't design this one. It's the most anonymous looking website I've seen. However, well, fill us in, Andy. What's it all about?
Basically, schema.org. You'll see here. It's sponsored by these 4 companies: Google, Microsoft, Yahoo, and Yandex. For those who don't know, Yandex is one of the largest search engines. It's the biggest in Russia, I think. In Russia. So they have actually got together as a group and decided, right, how can we save money, basically? This is how I see it. And what they're doing is obviously lightening the load on their servers by allowing SEO people or individuals to serve them, give them the data that they require. It's back to the baby and the spoon of food. Give the baby what it wants, and that's exactly what's happening. Now, as you see, when you go into the about, we've got a list of names here, and just about every line, Google pops up. Google, we've got Microsoft, as in Bing. We've got more Google, and Yandex are down there. We've just got all these people from all the search engines sponsor this. Basically, they are into saving themselves money by not having to have more servers indexing the internet.
Because servers cost money, servers create heat, servers use electricity, and creating driverless cars is a big investment.
Well, that's right.
If I put my cynical hat on. Okay, great. So what? How can we put the right stuff on the right spoon in the right way then, Andy? What can we do? Right,
we're going to take a little example of a search here, which was 6 month smiles in South Yorkshire, of all places. It's specific because we've done the research to find out people are searching for their 6 month smiles in that area. And as you know, people searching on mobile phones is very localized anyway. So what we've got a listing site up here, What Clinic, that seems to pop up, that I've not heard much good stuff about What Clinic. However, Precision pop up here and here. They take up 2 of the 3 top spots rather than just having a single listing. We've got 6 month smiles. This is traditional. This is the traditional search engine optimization going on here, where we've got a title, we've got the URL with the search terms in it, and we've also got descriptions. But behind that, what we've also done, we've added structured data into the mix. So you can see here on their main index page is Dentist, Rotherham, South Yorkshire. So we've got South Yorkshire in there. We've also got 6 month smiles in there. On the index, we can't get 6 month smiles or South Yorkshire in there, just because of the way websites are structured. But you can on subsequent pages, as you can see at the top.
So structured data, again, this is, and just to clarify, this is publicly available information. Yep. This is like going to a company's house and looking at a set of accounts.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone can do this on anybody's website.
That's right. What we can do, we can go onto the Google developers site. All you have to type in is Google Structured Data Testing Tool into Google again, and you'll see the link to this site. You enter the URL of the site that you want to test, hit fetch and validate, and you'll get the code down here. Now, on the right-hand side here, this is the interesting stuff. This is the data that we've put together for this site. So we're giving Google all the information in a really easy, straightforward way. We're even telling Google that Precision Dental's Facebook page is the same as precisiondentalcare.co.uk, Twitter, Google Plus, and we can add more and more depending on which channels we want to promote more. This adds authority. Also, we give it opening times for use on the likes of Google Places that you see on the right-hand side of search, sometimes with street views, etc. We give it the locality so it knows exactly where it is. We also go right down to where the coordinates are, and you can see how fine that is. It's fine-tuned. We also add geotagging, latitude and longitude to images on the site as well, so that they rank through image search too. So it's really very important to get this right. But the one big thing is it's saving Google a shed load of cash, because they don't have to troll through the whole internet looking for links to precision dental care. We're giving them that information. Therefore, we get better ranks, plus we get better density at the top of the rankings. As you can see, we're getting two lots of listings in the top 3 rather than just having one page listed.
And that was proven to be quite a tough gig, but then actually the structured data thing made a massive difference.
Yeah, that was it. We were at the bottom of page 1, top of page 2, and then we introduced structured data, and hey presto, up it went.
So I'm going to sort of summarise things, Andy, and then we'll take some questions. And the people have had a couple of questions on the GoToMeeting control panel thing. I'm slightly cynical here because I think I don't know if I like Google anymore. It seems that they're trying, we all use it, but actually they're trying to have the cake and eat it, possibly, in terms of you either pay for AdWords or you do something which saves them money anyway, which is the which is the structured data thing. There are lots of things that you can do yourself. We've pointed you here towards some things which are all publicly available resources. And we've moved away from SEO 1.0, which I guess was cramming things with keywords. Also, SEO isn't just one single thing. It's all these incoming links. But again, we're moving away from sponsored page listings and all those kind of things to now quality links with particularly things, guess what, that Google also own, like YouTube, and then credible links to things like, in the case of a dental practice, a two-way link, for example, with 6 Month Smiles. Presumably you could do that with Denplan and Practice Plan or whatever else.
Same, Invisalign, any other whitening. If you want to be an approved provider of a treatment, then that works exactly the same way, and that's a quality link rather than just being on any old listing site. Got it.
Okay. Anything else to add with your technical geekery before we move on to questions?
I think the main thing is you've got to persevere with it. It doesn't happen overnight. You've got to take a view. You've got to sort of get into the mindset of the person who's plugging the keywords or the search string into Google, and you can't think along the lines as you would in dentistry because people don't search. We did a little test earlier in the keyword planner, and we thought, oh, that would be a good one, cosmetic dentist. In Manchester, there's only been 10 searches for cosmetic dentist on average per month.
And yeah, I'm guessing a lot of people listening in, if they are cosmetic dentists, their website will say cosmetic dentist based in.
There you go. Got it. And they're not. People just aren't looking for that. You've got to change your mindset slightly. And it's really interesting when you get into it, but it can take up a lot of your time. And I know time is precious.
Good. So the first question that actually came in, I think we've kind of answered, which is what are the different levels of SEO? I mean, what you're saying is you're either optimized. You can't be half optimized. Like you can't have half a hole. You can't dig half a hole. You can't be half optimized or half anesthetized. So you either are or you're not. The other question that's come in, AdWords, and I was going to ask this one because I don't know, I'm torn on it myself. Do AdWords work? Do they work in dentistry but elsewhere? What's the best option?
I think it's interesting. We did a straw poll on the last Club Connect sessions, last quarter's Club Connect sessions, and for the listings at the top of the page that you can see on your screen here, which are ads, basically, we asked people if they were searching for anything like holidays, etc., would they click on them? and they actually said no, would go to the organic listings. So some people do, some people don't, but within the dental profession, the people who are actually at the coalface, so to speak, wouldn't use them. So you've got to take a view on that. Will the public use them? Maybe if there's if you've got an offer on of some description, or you're trying to promote a service, it might well be useful. But we also think that you should be at this is where the majority of people look. The top half, you can see the bit that people see when they land on the page. Top half of page one, great.
And I guess implants central London at £5 or £10 a click. It's a gamble,
And
or,
the rest.
or you've got a big budget.
And the rest. I mean, you're looking at close to for dental implants. You're looking at close to 10. Well, you are about £10 per click in London, at least.
So the bounce rate thing, which is another question. If people have got a high bounce rate, and we were looking at the analytics earlier, from what I'm seeing, bounce rate for paid for stuff tends to be higher. But let's presuppose this question's about generally my bounce rate is high.
Yeah.
What can you do about it?
Well, basically, engaging content is what we're looking for. It's content on the site. It's the way the site reads. It's the look of the site. It's down to the aesthetic of the website. People will want to look at it if it engages them, and if the content engages them. If there's some useful information there. A great way of getting engaging content is via your blog, okay, and feeding your blog from your social media channels. Obviously, again, we're building up authority, and it just means that people are pre-engaged before they hit your website, because they've come from a channel where they've liked your post. And dentistry in the social media market is hell of a difficult to get people engaged on, and when they come to your website, they tend to hang about.
So I guess through social media engagement, they've already kind of they've engaged with you, they've bought
pre-engaged,
you. Yeah. And then, of course, when they come to the website, it's backing up on a more sort of rational basis what their gut feeling is when they've looked at some. And what do people blog about, Andy? I mean, how the hell do you find the time to blog if you're a dentist, and what do you blog about?
Well, I mean, we've had quite a few blogs that we've done for people, obviously, which have been SEO'd. Some of them about just standard stuff like tooth decay, how to stop tooth decay. Really good, solid advice for people. As long as they've got keywords embedded in them, about keeping your teeth and keeping teeth clean. And then in the local area, get some local, like your name of your town, for example, in there somewhere, without cramming it full of keywords, but make it useful information for people. And blogs do actually pick up slightly differently on the on Schema. I can just show you really, really quickly on here on the testing tool.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. It just takes a couple of seconds to load.
We are live.
Right. You can see here we've got something called H entry. Now, this is to do with the way that there are tags within blogs. And within their blog, we've got keywords like dental health, restorative dentistry, teeth straightening, tooth whitening, and good old-fashioned news is one of the tags. But all this gets picked up by the search engines when you use structured data. If you use structured data, you can go a lot deeper, and you can make your blog work for you really well by adding keywords as tags.
So blogging, and I know this is an example, a client wrote a blog about whitening.
Yeah.
And the differences between getting it done legally, professionally, and safely with a qualified person, or getting it done at some illegal place in the shopping centre.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that made a massive difference.
Yes.
And that's educational, and it's a good thing. And I guess it's going to build trust that the dentist is.
That's what it's all about. If local people pick up on it, they click through to it, Google can see the level of engagement you're getting via the stats for unique visits and the stats for bounce. So they will take a view of those, and they will decide whether or not you've got a website with authority.
And one of the questions which we were asked at one of the workshops recently was, does this apply to Facebook? Can you kind of can you SEO your Facebook page?
Yes, you can. You have on Facebook, you have a couple of areas whereby you add descriptions. You have a long description and a short description. Within that, you can then load up your, dare I say it, load up your descriptions with your keywords as to where you are, as to the services you offer, and that does have a relevance. Now, the example you're talking about, Kevin, is a dentist who doesn't have a website, of all things. However, their Facebook page comes up in search, because they've taken the time to do the right thing on their page with relevant stuff, relevant content. So it happens across all the channels. Descriptions of your channels are important. Your Twitter profile is important. Your YouTube channel description is important. Google Plus profile, very important. As Google is now have decided just to sneak in by the back door, Google Plus search or Google Plus posts and YouTube posts that they previously blocked or been told not to do. They sort of snuck back in the latest algorithm update, the Penguin update.
The what?
Penguin.
Okay, no one's asked this question. I'm going to ask it. To me, Penguin was a wonderful chocolate bar in the 80s. What the hell is the Penguin update?
Right. Google have algorithms. Basically, the program that makes search work, and Penguin is the latest update of that, and they changed the variables within it so that they can penalize you for keyword cramming, for example. Years and years ago, that wasn't part of the algorithm. They actively encouraged that. Now, part of the algorithm is, we believe, structured data has a huge impact. As we've seen, we took the precision site from bottom of page 1, bang, right up to the top with different search terms. So the algorithm is something that we're not told about by Google. We can tell when it does actually come out. Beginning of February this year, there was a lot of very strange search results happening and ranking results. Google actually were meant to put Penguin out in November. However, they were told, or not told, they were advised by online retailers, please don't, because it would muck up the search engine results for the pre-Christmas period. So they left it and left it and left it. They did a couple of tests, and we believe they made it live at the beginning of February. But
they don't officially tell you, or what?
No, they wouldn't tell us. I mean, that gives the game away, and this is the dance that we have with Google.
So what I'm taking from this then is, and we are talking largely about Google, but I think it probably applies across the whole of the search engines, is that it is a bit of a game. They're trying to outsmart the SEO profession. The SEO profession are trying to second guess what Google are doing. We're getting things like structured data, which to me was something that seems to be just announced through the back door.
Yep.
We've got Penguin updates, which no one's ever heard of. What could happen next? What is the next thing you might say? I mean, I've got a question for you, Andy. What's stopping Google just from becoming everything paid for adverts?
Well, I think if they were to do that, they would lose a lot of business, to be honest. I think people like the perceived freedom of being able to search for anything on Google. And if it was if the whole of page 1 was taken up by ads, how many people would want to click on the ad? You wouldn't have a choice. But then, you're being served it's like those with deeper pockets get listed, and those without, who want to do it in a, shall we say, an ethical way almost, rather than paying for it, are penalised.
So all websites are equal, but some are more equal than others.
In the People's Republic of Search, yes.
So we do have a question, and good evening, Asma. Yes is the answer. How are we going to do that, Andy?
Right, we're recording this webinar at the moment. What we're going to do is we will send you a link. You should get it tomorrow at some point so that you can replay the webinar. We'll make sure it's available on YouTube as well, so you can have a look at it. We're free and open with what we're putting out. We'll also give you links to the likes of keywords planners, search consoles, Google Analytics. We'll give a link to Schema as well, so you can read a little bit more about that if you can get past the second page, because it gets quite technical. Also, the structured data testing tool, so you can test your site. You can basically have a play with it, and so that gives you the information so you can go to your search engine optimization provider and say, how about this? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? You know, we want to give you the tools to be able to work this, so you know what's going on in the background, rather than just being told, yes, it's in hand.
Okay, well, we haven't got any more questions, and I'm hoping that means we've covered everything. Let's just double check that. Any other questions come in?
Let's have a look. Just trying to see. It's a bit tricky, this one.
Ah, we do. Yes,
here
we
go. Oh. Right, from Monda. Hi,
Good evening,
Monda.
Monda.
Is it more worthwhile than paying for Facebook advertising to buy in the market to reduce your bounce rate? Well, yes. To build your following on Facebook, I would say yes. Targeted advertising would work well, so that you up your page likes, because then if you imagine imagine a tree, it's got a narrow trunk with lots and lots of branches coming off it. That's how Facebook works. The people who are closest to the trunk click like, and then they spread it out to all the leaves at the end.
But Mona's question, is it more worthwhile than SEO, I guess? Is it more worthwhile paying for Facebook advertising?
Well, I think to reduce your bounce rate, yes.
Because they're more engaged.
Yes, they're pre-engaged.
It's more of an active participation in social media than other things.
That's right. And then you're getting good quality links back to your website as well. Pre-engagement, less bounce rate, therefore Google likes you more.
Okay. The next question is from Paul Holborn. Good evening, Paul. Should websites also have a focus on promoting postcodes as well as town, city locations for search purposes? I'm really glad you're here to answer that, because I haven't got a clue.
Yes. In a word, if you're using structured data, postcodes, as you can see there, yes, get your postcode in there as well.
Okay, what's next?
Here we go. Valentina, copy of webinar appreciated. Yes, we'll send that out to you, Valentina.
Monda's been very busy. Are you able to target the demographics, etc.? Yes.
Yes, you can. By the way that you write your website, for example, you can appeal to certain demographics, and the way that your website looks, for example. You can go funky and modern, you're going to get a younger demographic. You can go more traditional and classy, you're going to get an older, more discerning demographic there.
So it's part of the branding.
Yeah, definitely part of the branding. But I think if you were going down the page route, through paid search engine marketing, pay-per-click, yes, you can drill down to age groups, you can drill down to areas, postcode areas. It gets really creepy how far you can go.
Valentina, good evening. What is the usual content on Facebook? Well, the usual content is pictures of fluffy cats, we sometimes see. But, I personally think Facebook, in terms of posts, is an opportunity to get three things across. And I think these three things, in balance with each other. One is something a bit like the blog, something informative, something that people can read and see to be of value, something educational. Probably something that reassures them that you're professional. So maybe a short post about some training, your first aid training or something that says that you know what you're doing and it's all very above board. And maybe also something that maybe just sort of says that you're human as well, So talking about things that we're doing in and outside of the practice. I would probably steer clear of, people being out on a late night, but something that says dentists are human. basically, and
Yeah.
those three things to engage. And things that are going to then drive traffic through to your blog as well. So you can basically put a post on your Facebook page, which you probably don't want to be pages and pages, but you can then put a short link through to your blog page, and that gives you a real chance to come out of your shell and promote your personal brand, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. And once again, going back to authority, good quality links back to your website.
You were showing structured data testing tool. Is there a resource to access more information on that to check if SEO is working if we are doing one?
Yeah, I mean, once again, you can use Google. There are various websites out there that give you keyword tracking. One that comes to mind is a site called Wincher, wincher.com. That allows you to enter certain keywords that you've used. You can track it against your competition, and it gives you a nice pictorial graph of what's going up and what's going down. So yes, there are other resources there, yeah.
And the next question is, how often is a Facebook page fed? What are your thoughts on that?
Now, this is a really different. We're getting into a different realm here of social media marketing. Jan's most likely the best person to answer this one. But
well, I've heard her answer that question, so let me do it for you.
Okay.
Probably to be consistent, I think, but certainly not to be posting constantly. I think people can get a bit switched off by too many posts, but I'd be consistent and regular with it. So I would personally say every day, but play around with the times to see what engagement you get. There are tools on Facebook. You can see what reach that post has on Facebook. Sometimes a day are going to have more reach than others, but be consistent with it and keep it relevant, keep it informative, keep it a little bit fun. I wouldn't just start, and sometimes it's what we see, I wouldn't just put, we're a dentist, we're open for new patients, and here's our whitening offer this week. It can be more than that. It can be better than that.
It goes the same way as we're talking about search engine optimization. It's about having engaging content,
telling a story,
telling the story. Yeah. If you tell a good story, people like it. Then their friends see that they've liked it. That's the great thing. It's not dissimilar. Plus, the tools on Facebook are great. The analytics tools they give you with insights. You can see the reach. You can see who's engaged. You can see and actually who's done what on the page. So you can then build a picture. Right. Next, Monda. The targeted Facebook advertising mean. I take it you're talking about advertising on Facebook and targeting demographics. Same way as you can do on AdWords, you can target right down to within a radius of a certain postcode, within a radius of a town, within a radius, and certain age groups as well. And if you are doing targeted or sponsored posts on Facebook, target, because there's no point having likes coming in from people 1,000 miles away in a different country, because they're not going to come and use your service. You want people who are close to you. And my usual thing is that I say to clients is, look, if you're looking for high numbers of likes, that's just vanity. We're looking for good quality likes. Same with good quality links. It all works the same. Something that you're actually going to get a meaningful result from.
And in a similar vein, Jazz has asked, what's your view on Twitter advertising?
Well, Twitter advertising, the jury's actually still out on this. They're doing a big push because obviously they're trying to monetize at the moment. I would say it gets your brand out there if you're going to target, once again, if you're going to target down to on a very local level around your dental practice. I think, yes, that can work.
And we'll probably just take one more then, or two more. Video. There was a big hoo-ha about having videos on your website a few years ago. What's the evidence to say that works? Or
video. Yeah, search engines love video. If you've got video on your site that's relevant, especially if it's unique content, your original content, where you upload your video to YouTube, other video hosting sites are available, like Vimeo, for example. It then allows the search engines to see if it's on there. You link back to it, embed it in the code of your website. They can see there's a video there. They will cross-reference the description of the video to what's on the site, make sure it's relevant, and yes, it will help with your search engine rankings.
And does it have to be a Hollywood performance? Does it have to be all professionally done? It could be. That costs money. Is there anything wrong with just doing almost a video blog? I've seen clients doing that successfully.
Yep, video blogs are great. One thing I would say, don't go overboard. Keep it real. Be a person. Be human. If you've got a video blog, you can do it on your mobile phone. The cameras on mobile phones now are seriously good quality. Make sure you do it landscape though. Don't do it portrait, because it just comes up with a load of black space.
And we've just got time for one more question. Just go back up again. How do you measure how efficient your SEO is? I guess that's the big question.
That's going back to analytics. If you can go to analytics and you're seeing that there's, we'll just go back. I'll just show you the screen again. Your organic search with a bounce rate here, 35, which is pretty average throughout the UK. Effectively, you're getting 65% engagement on your website from people searching you. You know, even if they click on you by mistake, they might have a look and then change their mind and go, oh, actually.
And of course, then the first question to ask is, if they do contact you, is how did you hear about us?
Correct. This is where the marketing is everything that you do. It's down to the reception staff, and Kevin, you can enlighten people on that more than I can, I think. You know.
Well, it's perhaps for another day, because I've only got 44 seconds left, but just to sort of keep to time. But yeah, I mean, of course, you want to know if these things are working. It's only as good as the measurements that you make. So, you know, my advice is everybody, we should ask in a way that people are comfortable with, well, how did you hear about us? And if they say the website, just worth checking actually, because it might be a referral from a patient who just didn't happen to have the phone number of your practice there at the time, and then said, you know, Google it for the number. So they may remember the last thing they did was go to the website to get the phone number. Sometimes it's worth digging to find out if that was the secondary source rather than the primary source.
Yeah, I mean, was it the phone number on the website? Was it on a listing? Was it, you know, where did they get that phone number from? You know, that's
good. Well, Andy, thank you for making it a bit exciting.
Is that an hour already?
I think that's an hour gone already.
Good.
And we've had consistent people listening in. So I hope we've informed you, helped you, given you things that you can take away yourself. Don't be scared of this. Don't be scared of Google. We know it's time to take over the world, but we'll just do our bit to sort of keep them in their place. There are lots of things that you can do with your website, as Andy's pointed you towards, things that you can take control of and or have a more informed conversation if you do outsource your SEO, and really just to have control over what you're doing with your website. Andy, you're going to follow this up with releasing this online, and
yes.
We're going to do. Are we going to send a link through to everybody to?
Yeah, there'll be an email going out tomorrow with all the relevant links on it and a link to the video, so people can watch it again, and listen to us go on about search engine optimization.
Thank you very, very much for joining us. We hope that was useful. We may well do another one if we've survived this one in one piece.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Good evening.